Hello, and welcome back to Mr. B Teaches History. Today's lecture will focus on the major reforms made at the different levels of government during the Progressive Era. This will avoid the specific reforms of the Progressive presidents because those will be dealt with in a separate lecture. So let's get started. Progressives attempted to make changes that would increase the participation of the average citizen in political decision-making because they believed if given the chance, voters would elect honest officials. These changes happened at many levels of government and across the country at different times. The secret ballot was introduced first in Massachusetts in 1888 to stop political parties from manipulating or intimidating voters. Direct primaries allowed citizens to vote for candidates for office, which effectively overthrew the power of political bosses to choose candidates for state and federal offices in closed conventions. In cities, progressives targeted political bosses who created corrupt alliances with local businesses. Utilities like water, gas, and power, and transport systems like trolleys, and eventually buses, were taken out of the hands of private companies to be run by the city to prevent them from exploiting the poor with high prices to make large profits. Also, they developed new forms of local government. The commission plan allowed voters to choose heads of city departments like fire, police, and sanitation. The manager-council plan allowed an elected city council to hire an expert manager to direct the work of city departments. At the state level, the progressives created three major ways to prevent the state legislatures from balking at the will of the public. First, initiatives allowed voters to compel the legislature to consider bills, usually by submitting a petition. Secondly, referendums allowed citizens to vote on proposed bills. Thirdly, recalls allowed citizens to remove corrupt or unsatisfactory politicians from office before their terms expired. Progressives in the state created regulatory commissions to monitor railroads, utilities, and other businesses like insurance companies. Progressives at the state level were divided on issues of alcohol consumption. Urban reformers only cared about taverns and saloons because they were the headquarters of political machines, while rural reformers thought that abolishing alcohol would clean up morals and politics together. Two-thirds of the state governments eventually prohibited the sale of alcoholic beverages. In the cities, progressives created settlement houses to meet the needs of poor immigrants and the working class to give them better schools, juvenile courts, liberalizing divorce laws, safety regulations for housing and factories, paroling criminals, separate reformatories for children, and limits on the death penalty. Compulsory school attendance proved effective in keeping children out of dangerous mines and factories, too. Women got many laws and court cases that protect them from long working hours, but this led to keeping women out of well-paying, physically demanding jobs, which the women's rights movement protested to remove these restrictions. Much of the reform at the national level were driven by the progressive presidents of Theodore Roosevelt, William Howard Taft, and Woodrow Wilson. We will deal with these reforms in a separate lecture. But progressives brought about several constitutional changes through their efforts. First, the 16th Amendment was ratified to allow Congress to pass an income tax. This was a larger part of President Wilson's economic reforms, which we'll talk about later. The 17th Amendment was adopted to allow citizens to vote for their U.S. senators by popular vote in response to the belief that the U.S. Senate was a millionaires' club dominated by big business. And the 18th Amendment, passed on the strength of the temperance movement, made it illegal to buy, sell, import, manufacture, or transport alcoholic beverages in the United States, thereby making alcohol illegal.
If you have any questions, comments, concerns, or clarifications you would like to make about this lecture, please leave a comment below. If you learned something new, please consider leaving a like. If you would like to receive notifications of more content like this, please consider subscribing and ringing the notification bell. If you would like to support this channel and creator financially, please check out the links in the description for merchandise or sites that will provide me direct financial support for the work of this channel. Thank you for your time and have a great day. Class dismissed.